At this time, before we do anything, it is always important that we invite the presence of God to be with us. Coming to do the invocation for us is no other person in his capacity. Bishop, the Honorable Custos of St. James, Conrad Pitkin, Senior Pastor, Faith Temple Assembly of God. Put your hands together as we make welcome the Bishop.
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Good day, everyone. It's a blessed day, and although it is warm, we give God thanks for his goodness. I will hear what God the Lord will speak, for he will speak peace unto his people and to his saints, but let them not turn again to folly. Surely his salvation is nigh them that fear him, that glory may dwell in our land. Mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. Yea, the Lord give that which is good, and our land shall yield her inheritance. Righteousness shall go before him, and shall set us in the way of our steps. The word of the Lord from Psalm 85. May I invite you to change your position since you've been sitting for a while as we go to the Lord in prayer. Let us stand, please. O gracious, loving Father, God of mercy and of truth, our righteous and eternal one, to you we offer our praise and our thanksgiving, our gratitude for your divine goodness. Hitherto, you have helped us. Hitherto, you have led us. 15 years since rebranding, and over 60 years in existence, serving the people of our nation, your people, a commitment to which we are committed to keep true to your command and to your guide. But as we gather today in our celebration and for the activities that will ensue during today, we ask for your blessing. We ask for your guidance. We pray your guidance and leading upon our Prime Minister and the members of his cabinet, upon the leader of the opposition and all the members of parliament that serve your people across this island, for the chairman and the board of the Housing Agency of Jamaica. Thank you for the leading, especially over the last 7 years. We pray, God, that we'll continue to guide and to protect. And thank you for the opportunity that you have given to us so that we are able to work with your people in providing affordable and adequate shelter and solutions. For the managing director, her team that works closely with her, and for every staff across Jamaica of the Housing Agency, we pray for your continued blessing and for your guidance. Pray, Lord, that as we continue to serve, not only that you will guide us, but in a way you provide the adequate resources that we will be able to provide adequate solutions for your people who continue to reach out in need. Bless the activities today, we ask, in your holy name. Amen. Thank you. You may be seated.
That was our bishop. Come on, give him a big hand for praying the presence of God in this place. Coming to do the official welcome and greeting is no other person than our worthy MD, Doreen Prendergast.
A very good morning, but it's good afternoon, everyone. It is indeed a pleasure of mine to be present here with you all this afternoon as we commemorate the 15th anniversary celebration of the HAJ since it was rebranded. The HAJ's legacy is linked to the work done by various agencies that it succeeded, dating back to as far as 1960. Right on the cusp of Jamaica's independence from colonial rule. Since then, the agency has remained a consistent player in the housing market, resulting in it having a very vast footprint across the housing landscape, particularly in the affordable housing market segment. So our anniversary celebration throughout the course of this week and our open day today, they are aimed at showcasing our commitment to our vision, our mission, and our mandate to increase access by all Jamaicans to affordable housing. And so the homeowners at our Catherine Estate project, they are at the center of our display today, as we will be doing an official key handing over ceremony. Today, we will also be celebrating the commitment and dedication of our staff, because the agency is not the agency without its human capital. And so we'll be celebrating those who have served 15 years and over. And we do this in honor of the valuable contribution that they would have made to the organization. We are showing appreciation to them. We would have experienced the ebbs and flows with this agency, and they would have been integral in the ebbs and in the flows. They have stayed the course. They have stuck with it. And we can say collectively that it has been worth it. We are determined, and we continue to be determined, to fulfill our mandate of providing safe, affordable, and legal housing solutions to all residents in Jamaica. And as the theme indicates, building on our legacy. In closing, I would like to thank the Board of Directors of the Housing Agency of Jamaica. And you would have seen Reverend Pitkin, who came up here, even though you did not mention that he's a member of the Board of Directors. He's actually a member of the Board of our Directors, and he's also serving us in the capacity of Company Secretary at this time. And so we are truly grateful for him having brought the invocation. And I also want to say thank you for your overwhelming support. Special thanks also to the representative of our parent ministry, the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, who are present here, and they have turned out in their numbers to support us, and we are truly grateful. We want to thank you for your continued support and guidance in giving us policy direction and in monitoring the work that we do. Thanks also to our partner agencies. JCF was here a little earlier, and we would have invited our partner agencies. JCF is here. And I want to thank them for turning out to share with us in this momentous occasion. Finally, the hard-working team from the housing agency, the staff and the team who would have organized this activity. I want to say also thank you. You have labored hard, and here we are today having this celebration. And I end by saying congratulations to you, our newest homeowners. It has been our honor serving you. Thank you very much.
We are grateful. We are indeed grateful. Building Jamaica one community at a time. At this time, we want to call our board chair, no stranger to us, a man that is walking with this company through many years, a man that knows the ins and outs. Put your hands together and make welcome our board chair, Mr. Norman Brown.
Good afternoon, everyone. My voice is not as strong as the previous speakers. My managing director's voice is stronger than mine, even though she's a female. But I did a medical procedure on my throat, so my voice is not back to normal as yet. But I stand here today as a very proud chairman of the Housing Agency of Jamaica. I think this agency, over the last 15 years, has grown tremendously. And my journey with the agency started in 2007 when I was appointed a director of the board. After 2 years on the board, when we did the analysis, we realized that if we continued along that strategic direction, we would not be able to fulfill our mandate and be relevant to the people of Jamaica. Because our mandate is to build houses for the people. That is one of the key mandates that we have, and to build not just houses, but affordable houses. And so the board at the time took a decision, led by Mr. David Chung, our chairman, to rebrand the agency and to reorganize our management team to make us more technically focused so that we could implement and achieve our projects in a timely and efficient manner so that we can bring good value to our customers, who are the people of Jamaica. We have been successful so far, and we have grown over the years to the point now where at present we have 7 projects ongoing all across Jamaica. And also we have another, I think it's about 8 projects, possibly about 5,000 additional houses that are either in planning or at the beginning of their implementation stage. And that is a credit not just to the board or the management, but to the entire team of HAJ folks. It is a very challenging task to steer this agency because, as I have stated before, construction is a very risky business. Things can go wrong very easily if the team is not focused on doing the right things at the right time. The HAJ team has displayed that level of competence so that now we are able to deliver houses to people and really be proud about doing it. Because that is the satisfaction that we get. When we create communities and see families acquiring homes, growing the children in a safe and organized environment, which is environmentally friendly and with all the amenities that you need, that is what gives us the satisfaction that we are doing something right. And so we are very happy that today we can start another chapter in another family's life by delivering their keys to them here. We are really working towards greater and bigger things. Under the government 70,000 housing program, the HAJ has been charged with doing 14,000. Presently we are embarking on about 6,500 under construction all across Jamaica. And so we have another about 7,500 houses to be constructed, and we are well underway with our plans to achieve this target. Most of our achievements has been done with the help of our stakeholders, both at our ministry, our parent ministry, by our various ministers. Because since this board has been seated, I think I've had about 5 ministers. But for some reason they keep this board. So, but we continue to work. I want to single out the Tourism Enhancement Fund and Minister Bartlett. They have been quite good friends of the agency. Because apart from building new homes, part of our mandate is that we are responsible for the brownfield communities right across the length and breadth of Jamaica. I think it's close to 100 communities. And I remember a former minister was stating that approximately 800,000 Jamaicans live in these informal communities without proper amenities. And we have embarked on a process of trying to regularize these places, to put in infrastructure and to give people the security of tenure so that they have the land title. So when they close the gate, they know that they are in somewhere that belongs to them and nobody can remove them from there. The Tourism Enhancement Fund has empowered us to do that because they have given us grant funding which we have used to regularize places like Shaw Park in Ocherias, Barrett Hall in St. James, Providence Heights in St. James, Norwood in St. James, Boxhaven in Maypen. There are several other communities. Currently we are in Grangepen, and in Grangepen we are putting in requisite infrastructure to regularize 540 informal communities. And these are not being done with mall road and gravel and no, these are properly laid out, asphalted concrete with proper GPS power grid, proper water systems, so that people can, you create an ownership society. So when people who live in those communities start to embrace their communities, they will not allow antisocial behavior in there. Because that is part of the challenge that informality brings. When we have these communities where there are no roads and no lights and so on, so the police can't adequately patrol. If somebody going home from work, they can't drive up to the gate. They have to walk through the tracks to reach a house. Most time, hotel workers coming home, it's night, it's unsafe. So it's either you have to have somebody in your family who can defend you, or you don't come home at all. Now, we are trying to change that narrative by putting in the requisite infrastructure in these communities so that people can own a piece of this blessed place called Jamaica, and to protect it, grow your children in a community where they are used to good things, where they are used to proper amenities, where they are used to a formal structure, where they are used to authority, where they are used to proper garbage collection, police patrolling, proper transportation. If you buy your own car, you're supposed to be able to drive up to the yard and park in a driveway. And so the HAJ is really seized with the need to ramp up that and to complete that kind of a aspect of our operations. So we're trying to do the two things at the same time. But we are very pleased now that some of the projects that we have started, people start to actually live in the houses. So when we drive in the community and we see people on the veranda and the children and the other place, it creates a sense of worth for my team here. Not just the board, but everybody here. Because we are all committed to building Jamaica by building proper communities which will create proper, better people, better behavior, and a better quality of life for all our people. We pledge to continue to do these things and to grow, because where we are now as an agency, we are poised for bigger and greater things. We want to ramp up the amount of houses that we can build at any one time, so that more people can have access to more houses. So we, as a board and management, we give the commitment that we will keep growing and keep doing what we're doing and do it within the compliance of the government's public administration act and rules, and to ensure that this agency, whenever you take up a paper, you listen to the radio and you hear them talking about HAJ, it's not a negative. It's that we are breaking ground somewhere, we're delivering out somewhere, we're opening up a road somewhere, we're fixing some water system somewhere, but we are positioning ourselves that we can be an asset, not to the government, but to the people of Jamaica. So once again, I want to thank you all for coming, and we really appreciate that you are here today to celebrate with us this small milestone. It is not a great milestone, but it is something that we think is worthy of celebration because it has kept us on a straight and narrow path to delivering our mandate to the people of Jamaica. Thank you. And before I go, welcome one of our key stakeholders as well, Mr. Omar Sweeney from JSIF, who has been very helpful with us in terms of bringing services, especially to the brownfield communities. So thank you again, sir, for being here. Thank you, ma'am.
That was our board chair. And you can felt that he has the experience with him. He could just speak without a script because this man has been with us for a long time and he's ensuring that HAJ becomes great. Give him another hand. We want to officially welcome some of the dignitaries in the house this afternoon. We have with us the managing director from NHT, Martin Miller. We have NWC representative Everton Hunt. We have JSIF representative here, Mr. Omar Sweden. Sweden. Okay, I get it right. Sweden. We are glad to have you, sir. And we also have representative here from JIS and Nationwide. We want to welcome you to our 15th years of anniversary celebration. You know, with everything that you do, the final result is very important. At the final stage, we will have happy people. And we have some happy people in the house today. And so at this time, we are going to be calling on Masiana Murray, our team lead for sales and legal. We're going to be calling on our Miss Rosemary Brown, the director for technical service, to come at this time as they will be doing the key handing out ceremony. It is very important to know that at this time we will publicly issue keys to our newest homeowners in St. Catherine Estate. And of course, our board chair will make the presentation with the key.
Thank you, Mr. Masters of Ceremony. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming. So we will have the key handing over ceremony now, and the first person who I'm going to be calling is Arthur Kennedy. Is Arthur Kennedy here? Wow. He's from the ministry, one of our peer ministry. We will now have Adriana Pinnock. Candice Grant. Candice. Karith Palmer. Next is Philippa Laura Fields. Mr. Clark, Paul Clark. Olivia de Montenegro. Olivia de Montenegro. I'm going to call it. Thank you very much, Chairman Brown. We will now invite Bishop to do another set of handing over. So we should save some for him, sir? Okay, Sharissa Ben Nevis, is she here? When she come. Giovanni Clark. Tamika Carrie Ann Martin. And we're going to make a special request of Miss Martin to share her experience in becoming a homeowner. No, you? Yeah, we would like to hear her experience.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I just want to share, it's a remarkable feeling. I can tell you this much, that I've been watching the project from about 2019. Now, being a young individual, a single mom, it was a requirement. It was something a part of on my vision board, that it has to be accomplished. And I remember hearing persons saying, boy, you really want to live over there? So I'm a Kingstonian, so I'm actually new to the parish. And when I hear a person says, but these are small, these are matches box. These, no, after a while it's going to turn into a garrison, aka a ghetto. And listen to me, sometimes you have to be silent and be patient and knock out the noise. Don't listen to the noise and the distractions. Because when I saw the amount of persons who lined up to see the model unit, when I see whereby the online platform was open and how persons rush to be a homeowner, listen to me, it is of great privilege that I can tell you that I am very excited. I'm very happy. I can tick off this as a personal accomplishment. And I encourage persons, do not be intimidated by persons who will give you negative advice, especially when it comes on to owning something. This is a long-term asset. You can purchase a car. The minute you drive it off the lot, it has depreciated. Home ownership is very important. And I'm imploring young persons who is here now, parents who have children, encourage them to own something. If it's not a house, it is a piece of land. I have broken generational curse. Because guess what? I am the first to own a piece of this island. And I am very grateful for it. And let me tell you this, for those who have just received their keys, You're going to be discouraged. You're going to probably move in and say, boy, this is hard. Because guess what? When you have to pack up, a lot of persons had to dance into their one bedroom and their studios. But I can tell you this. When I meet with each and every single one of them and give some encouraging words, yes, man, you can do it. Some persons downside didn't even know that their neighbor might need a bed because they're just starting. We are a community. We are already started to build our neighborhood association watch. We have a vision. We have a plan. And let me share this with you. It's not where you're living, it's how you're living. So I leave with that with you today, that this is a community and I've already tasted the fruitfulness. I've already planted my melon, my banana, my plant. So come on board, be a part of it. And let me tell you this, it's been 10 months and I'm happy, I'm elated. It's one thing that I've ticked off the vision board, and I leave with you. Remember the Israelites, they complain and they complain and they complain. They did not make it to the promised land. So don't be like the Israelites. Have a vision, have a plan. And as you see your neighbor, bless up your neighbor. Celebrate, because it's a dancing season. So thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Miss Martin, anything that I say would not give justice to what you just shared.
You couldn't.
So I'm just going to say thank you for sharing. Thank you so very much. Okay, our next customer, our next homeowner is Gary Gordon. Thank you, Bishop. I'm going to leave a few for our Managing Director, Mrs. Doreen Prendergast. May I invite her to come to the front? Thank you very much, Bishop. Osheen Lindsay. Miss Lindsay. The other fellow who is coming up is Lyndon Roberts, one of my staff members. Symbolic. And we're going to leave a few for our minister, Dr. Chang, who is on his way. So this last one is Shauna K for the MD. Shauna K. You know, we don't give preferential treatment, but we ensure that our staff is also taken care of. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have done my part. As soon as the minister comes, we'll allow him to do a few. Thank you very much.
Yes. At this time, our board chair wants to make special mention of some things.
Members, when I sat and listened to the lady a while ago, it makes the job that we do here worthwhile. I must tell you, it was so inspiring. I had to come up and say thank you. Because that is how we build future. And we build Jamaica. And Jamaica is not the land, you know. Jamaica is the people. This land has been here for 4 million years. It's the people that make it Jamaica. And if we build each other, then Jamaica is going to be a first world country. If we continue along this path where people are ambitious, and as the lady said, just tune out the negative, focus on what your goal is, and push for it. And she mentioned about the houses being small. The houses are small, but they are designed with an expansion plan in mind. So anybody who wants to expand the house, HAJ have the plan, the expansion plan for you for free. And also the parish council for phase 4, I think they have also waived the fees, so it won't cost you nothing to get the approval. So you can start. And nobody build a better place than you. When you move in and you decide say you want a room, it come up quick than if the government build a 2-bedroom girl. Because it's going to cost you less. Because you do it yourself, so you eliminate all of the fat that comes in construction. You can do it yourself. And the potential of our people is great. I don't know how many of you go to the North Coast sometimes. But there's a housing scheme up in Duncans. When you're driving on the road, it's up on the hillside. When it was built, everybody laughed after the people. Everybody was saying, what kind of matches box this on the hillside? And after 10 years, if you pass there now, there's no house up there under $30 million. Because people build and empower themselves by doing it themselves. So this start is a start that you need. And when a young person get a house, take it as me tell you, your life set. You're on a path for progress and prosperity. So it is so inspiring, and I thank the lady again for giving us that message of hope. Because that is what we need. Not just for who sit here, but for all of our young people. So thank you again.
Wow. Isn't that great? You notice nothing is given away free these days. But HAJ is still giving away things free. Free extension plan. And you know, we are in the business of making people happy. Smiling faces. Come on, smile a while and give your face a rest. There's happy moment. Yes, the Honorable Dr. Ori Strang is driving in, and you can imagine that we are blessed to have him in our presence here today. So you will be hearing from him in a little while. Yes. But HAJ, a force to be reckoned with. Huh? A force to be reckoned with. HAJ, the legacy that we have. We're just let him rest off a little for 2 minutes or so before we call him to come and address this audience. But as I was saying, free extension plan. I like the sound of that. Huh? Free. And of course we waive the fee for the approvals. Free again. And HAJ want to see people happy. The board, the management, and the staff, our objective, one of our major objectives is to see people smile and to see people happy and to see people own their own home. Is that an amen? So at this time, coming to address us is our keynote speaker, no stranger to Jamaica, no stranger to us at HAJ, Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, CD, MP, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of National Security. Stand and receive the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Allow me to recognize our Chairman of the Housing Agency, Mr. Norman Brown, members of the board, our president, current acting managing director, Ms. Doreen Prendergast, and I presume the many members of the staff of the whole agency. First, must congratulate the whole agency, celebrating your 15th year since rebranding and renaming. I am pleased to be here, and I think I came here because this started when I was my early years in ministerial responsibility. And I must say to the members here that when I took this agency as minister back in 2007, it was then, we rebranded a little bit later, but my prime minister, who was my good friend, and I had actually volunteered to take on housing and water, said to me one day in cabinet, how is it that this body still writes checks? Right? Because housing agency at the time had a outstanding liability to a number of financial institutions, particularly housing trusts, of some $8 billion. And the assets were not quite outstanding either, quite that near that. And I expected that it's a private company, then you'd go into receivership and try and scrape together the bits of assets that they had. But they did have some assets. They had some mortgages from Greater Portmore, and they had a number of bits and pieces of real estate across the island, which had good value, plus responsibility for a number of informal settlements. And those were the three components of the then NHDC. But they had built up quite a, I won't say that it stopped, but the operation then had built up a credibility problem with a number of the very proud people, which was the nucleus of it at the time, who said that they gave a lot of promises that were not being kept, and the agents were in a difficult time. The bills were basically, the income was essentially just paying the staff, which came from the mortgages in Greater Portmore, which was running out rapidly. And the challenge was to restore viability, and we couldn't get any more money to borrow. So we had to pay housing trusts, restore viability, and move on. And I have to say, congratulate the staff members, some of whom are still here, and the board that took over at that point in time. Because the board took on the responsibility of how to reorganize and out of that very confusing but very difficult position, put the agency in a pretty strong position, which I'll comment on later. But it was a struggle for the staff, because the staff was very aware of the challenges in there. And they really pulled together with the then managing director, and we were able to bring the sea light. But one of the things we decided at that point is that maybe we need to rebrand the organization, because you would have not only inspire new thinking, but create a new face for an organization, which in fact had very good institutional benefits, so to speak. Or the issue of, for example, redeveloping and reverse engineering our informal settlements was critical to the country. We have nearly 20% of our people living in informal settlements. It can't be left like that. They have all kind of problems, and one of the government agencies that has the kind of institutional understanding and what you might call institutional memory to really tackle development and formalization of these centers is the housing agency. They had significant lands, and part of their mission was to build houses at a level that working individuals could afford. So, but all the income has emerged from the Greater Portmore, which reflects what was the Caribbean Housing Finance Corporation, which had that. That kind of kept us alive, if I put it literally. And the new MD was there. He was actually Minister of Housing appointment on the board. The team came in, and they had a number of critical people. Look at what we had. And realized the first thing you have to do is to make some money. As I said, if you are in debt, the way to do is to earn your way out of it, grow out of it. And they sat down and looked at it and made some decisions. But part of it, they said, was to rebrand the company so that you could have a new face to the public and re-inspire some confidence in a lot of their clients. Because the informal sector was very upset, and it was not, but it was just reality. and rebranded and started work. And I think the first scheme we did to make some money was a piece of land in Portmore. And I think there are some staff members who had acquired the house there, Palms of Portmore. And that kind of set the stage for the content development of HAJ, because I think that there are certainly the last 2-bedroom houses in the island, pretty well built, gated community. You had installed to, I think, a solar heater, and they sold for under $3 million. In fact, I think even at that time, it was a steal, in a sense, if I use the term properly. The houses sold off, all of them sold one Sunday morning. That's what I remember. And I think and yet the agents was able to make a profit to begin to look at further investment. I think it had the guidance of some very good business minds and people who were at a high level of integrity to ensure that it was built within budget and it was sold with a reasonable price. I said you made some money, but those houses could have been, I'm sure the members who bought them, if you told them 50 million today, they'd maybe throw you through the door, right? Head first, right? As a matter of fact, and I know a number of people who bought them out there. It was a nice scheme, but it set the tone after that we looked at how we could balance development, make some money, and invest. And we didn't just take the money and pay off debts. We decided to apply our minds to the informal settlements and some urban renewal programs where there's, I said, very strong institutional benefit in the housing agency. And it's something that we cannot afford to lose because we still have a large body of our people living in informal settlements and the urban areas of urban decay around the corporate area and most of our townships are in the size township. Montego Bay, Spanish Town, which is where Spanish Town, the corporate area is well established. As areas of extremely high urban decay that has to be, we have to put investment in there for redevelopment. The problem I face today in my new seat as Minister of National Security, a lot of that evolves out of these difficult communities. And the reality is that while I have to build and strengthen the police force to deal with the daily criminal operations, if we are to reverse the process and have permanent and sustainable reduction, we have to reorder a lot of our communities. And this involves the informal settlements and the areas of great urban decay. And while it is not highlighted, I'd say the agency and the individuals with the highest level of institutional skill to understand and enter these areas of the housing agency. You don't have to like everybody, you don't agree with everybody who's there and what they do, but the reality is, for those who have been looking, I say that more in a very generic way, I think as an institution, they have extremely high quality capacity and understanding of how to operate in an informal settlement. And since I have some big ones, it's not an easy task. Everybody will look on and say, government put money. Just give us a couple $2 billion and start working. But going into an informal settlement to redevelop and reverse engineer is not an easy task. There is the interaction with the people, the citizens who you have to work with, but the actual engineering itself is a big challenge because you have to rebrand it to rebuild trust, but there's still a way to go. Once you get in, everybody wants the road, everybody wants the water, but believe me, I built my fence here 20 years ago, and this post was my border. But when you do the survey line go behind the post, and believe me, if you need that extra foot of road to make it a decent driving road, I'm going to tell you, you have to find a way to pay me for that. Or you can't take down that post. I remember when myself and my brother came in here, and there was nothing except some kashamaka and a logwood tree, and we chopped them down with an axe and put the post right here, sir. A mile on this. You have to find another way to get the road home. And it's human reaction. Part of it too is that the firstness, if you claim it and they're not sure they're going to build the road, they're not sure the water going to come, it's that kind of ongoing tackle. And you have to have individuals who, in their professional capacity, understand how to deal with these individuals. doesn't come like that. You went to university, you have your master's in social work and community outreach, but that's not enough. You have to have some experience and reflect on what happened in the context of the Jamaican society, and that's part of it. HAJ has good institutional understanding of this kind of activity. It's even worse, of course, when they deal with this informal settlement, which is from a greenfield. So they, as I said, they use boots and machete and cut the road. After good reasoning and understanding, they will relent. Once they realize, yes, you're sure you're coming back, you're sure you really, when they say this, I'll see you and you'll get the road done. If you're able to convince them, which I think the professionals do, they relax and you start working with them. By the time you get them convinced, they will work very well. And I think HA knows that. The ones who are more difficult is the man who was living downtown and captured a place for the last 20 years. And you have both the issue of where he lives, issues of turf, inner city turf control and all that. Road you want to cut road in place. It's a challenge that you have to deal with that. That's an even bigger challenge. And there are individuals there who are not necessarily the nicest individuals. Informal settlements have a reputation, but most people in informal settlements will reach to something. Many of them occupy space because they found jobs in the region they are in. So bottom line, they have some stake in development and some equity, and they want to move forward. When they go into urban decay, suddenly you start fixing it, and a lot of people claim equity, claim shares, and you have to find a way to work it out. Even if it's a land that they captured, but it's an urban area they have been living, and grandparents and live there, they take over some people's old house. And once the holdings move in, and value begin to be restored, the man who owned the house 40 years will come back in. And you run into all the dynamics of the legal side, the social side, and all that's there. And they're challenging. If we don't have individuals who understand how to deal with this and look a way out of it, you'll never get any of this rehabilitation done unless you end up in some kind of coercive element and force that I don't want the police to take on, quite frankly. So I view the houses in this light, and in the 15 years, they have done remarkable work across the island in several areas, and have done some innovative things as well, things that sometimes we still have to do. You have proven difficult in meeting some of the legislative action that's come since, like procurement. I mean, one scheme I looked at very creatively, we went to a place out in St. Mary, and we were able to provide the developer land instead of cash, because we were cash strapped. They are much better off today. Come with that. Give them, you subdivide, you build the roads, you put in the water, and everybody was squatted. This quarter there were informed people were actually people responsible individuals. They're working. The public reputation of, because of some of the criminal ones that people in informal settlement are those youngsters. It's far from true. I mean, many of the people living there were actually government workers. And we'd hope that you can reverse that job, new housing program, but that's what we inherit. And we have to give him land, and it took like 12 lots, cut the road, asphalt it, and we have to survey the land and give the people a title. That's a kind of creative activity, and only the housing agency could do it. Okay? If you went into the Ministry of Housing, the regulations and the laws and this would prevent it from doing so. The housing agency is a crucial part of the institution to resolve our housing issue. Because it's standalone, it's a company, it's a limited liability company, but it has government support and is owned by government. It does have some flexibility, and at the same time, beside the flexibility, I said, it has some security, because they're not going to knock you down overnight in terms of the challenge to get financing and so forth. And the bank's not going to run into bankruptcy as fast as they would a private company, which I think houses have done. So it occupies a peculiar position as a government company, wholly owned by the country government. It has some good assets in land. Sometimes I'm not even sure they can find all the land we have. Turn up every now and again. And it has good institutional knowledge of how to deal with these challenges and also build a pretty low-income house. So it offers the opportunity to be used, and that's why we've kept it going. I said and the two occasions I've had the privilege of being responsible for HAJ, both in the early years when my then Prime Minister said, how does this institution still write a check? And they were paying the bills, the salaries every month, and they got it cashed. They didn't have to come back. By the time I got back there in my second dispensation, we were occupied again for a short time with the Prime Minister, I would ask the same question. I won't give a political speech, but I had to ask the very same question. How do we write the checks again? But we did. We were able to do so. And in all of this, part of the challenge, one of the opportunities we were looking at, one of the options you had was actually to close the agency. That's a fact of life. And why do you need a separate housing body? Your private sector people felt that when you build middle-income homes, kind of upper level of low income, which gave you some profits that we could reinvest in the informal settlements that were competing with the private sector, and we shouldn't compete. But I think if I go back a little, by the time we finished the reorganization in 2010, the staff of the agency and the board can take credit that in 2010 to 11, housing agencies were responsible for 50% of the housing start in Jamaica. The record will show in terms of improving it, and that's just sheer God's ability and commitment from the staff collectively, whatever it was that to be able to get to that stage. I said I came back in 2016, I was asked, look at the balance sheet and when are you going to close the company? But I said, given the background, and that's why I spent some time in outlining the strength of the agency to deal with certain challenges we face, it just wasn't practical. There's nobody else to do that job. You know, it is the way Housing Trust operates, and the Ministry of Housing, it doesn't have the staff, it doesn't have the team, nor does it have the current relevance to go into as informal settlement of street houses and start to cut roads, put in water. The engineering is one big challenge, but just as I said, the social interaction, or to go down into an inner city area, as they are now doing somewhere in West End, St. Paul's, and a number of others that is on their plate they have to do. So I have to commend the staff, congratulate the time they have served. 15 years is a short time in the life of an institution, but they have certainly demonstrated their commitment, their talent, and they are going from strength to strength. I said at the beginning, we inherited them in an almost insolvent state. They had assets, but 8 billion debt with a cash flow of less than a couple $100 million a month. It was difficult to go through, and at this point, I think their debt is less than $500 million. And they have paid back the money to Housing Trust. So those who are listening, it was large money owed by Housing Trust. And they did it by sheer hard work, creative activity, and maintaining a level of integrity. And I repeat that word, don't go into the details, and others say might come to that. A level of integrity that allowed them to, whatever they earned, came to the company, and they did things in a manner that was efficient and profitable. I won't give you any of the bad news that came in between that caused some of the problems we have when housing prices kind of skyrocketed intolerably high without it. And this company was able to restore and build a complete unit for prices which are highly competitive. I mean, in coming at a late stage, you saw some inefficiencies that really frightened us, but the board was able to pull it back with the management team there. And I think someday somebody will have to look at those things, look at the numbers, and hopefully some of the technical people in there and the board members will get credit for it. You know, we saw housing costs. I said the last set of houses sold for under $3 million. So what about that? $2.4 million pounds of Portmore? Yes, in that kind of region. But then the same kind of house. We did keep some in Loan as well at the same price. And the next set came in, and over 3 years we had moved from $2.5 million to about $14 million in cost. It was kind of hard to explain, and maybe somebody needs to look at these things and see, because they came back and billed them now for about $6 million or something like that. But without going that side, I think I'd rather stay with the good side, which is to really commend the agency staff and the members of the board. It's a dedicated board, most of them have been on the board from the first dispensation. The core of the board members have been there from 2007. The state course came back in 2016, and have been able to assist in reorganizing, directing this agency to be one of our principal producers of quality housing for working Jamaicans. And with the kind of quality of experience to really rehabilitate some of our most difficult communities, whether it is the Providence, Norwood, or St. Paul's, or or Bosco Bed in St. Mary, all across the island. They have demonstrated their talent, and I think it's just to commend the board members, the staff members. Take for yourself, you have done outstanding work, and it's just one of the, and as I said, have demonstrated you're one of the premier institutions in this country, and one which we will have to depend on to deliver quality housing to working people in this country. Greenfield Housing is proceeding. They are committed to make a significant contribution of maybe 15,000 or 14,000 to the Prime Minister's target of 75,000. If they give them the opportunity, I know they'll do more, but when all that looks good and that's where we like to cut the ribbons and we take the photographs, they do the kind of legwork in the informal settlements and in the depressed areas that I think is really critical for the sustainable redevelopment of our communities. And on that note, I want to commend them, congratulate them for the years of work, service to the entire members, teams of the Housing Agency of Jamaica, and look forward to seeing the Housing Agency of Jamaica remain as it is a premier institution for reaching out to deliver houses to homes and communities to our working people and across Jamaica. We're not seeking to compete the big boys in the high end. In fact, would love to see us, in fact, within the budget allow us to focus heavily on the informal settlements and the areas of urban decay, because we have housing agency went deliberately into the next level of housing, largely to make money to do some of the informal settlements. That was the reason for it, and we didn't increase the price exorbitantly, but we made some money from them by maintaining efficiency and integrity. But again, congratulations on your 15th anniversary. I remember the day when we cut the first ribbon. And to all the staff members, I said, it's good to see you today. I'm in another phase, but we keep in touch. And I said, thanks for the effort and the work you have put in rebuilding communities. And we look forward to many more years of working with the Housing Agency, making a real significant contribution to national development. Thank you. Congratulations.
Wow, that was our Deputy Prime Minister. Deputy Prime Minister doesn't look like he's aging at all. From the first day he stepped to HAJ, look the same way. Keep on doing what you're doing, sir. At this time, we're going to invite you back, however. We have some keys to be handed out, and we're going to call back our technical director, Rosemary Brown, to come at this time and execute this.
Dr. Chan, we are building on our legacy, a legacy that is worth celebrating and building a future on. So
I should say that Miss Brown was there when we got there. I know that just changed a lot, but she's one of the original cornerstones.
thank you, sir. Now we're going to call on a few of our customers, our homeowners, to receive their keys from Dr. Chang. And the first person is Odain Grant. Yeah, Nikolai. And Nikolai, you're next. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, Nikolai. Oh, Mr. Johnson. Ayana. Ayana Tomlinson, another of our own. I'm going to ask Mr. Hill to take tea as well. Tia Henry is not really available just now, so we're going to ask one of her co-worker, Mr. Hill, to collect her key. Oh, Lord,
And the next person is Mr. Evans, and we're going to ask Mr. Laurie to collect on behalf of Omar Evans. Thank you, Dr. Chang. And these are all homeowners of Catherine Estates.
Forgive me for intervening. As I said, we acquired this property back in 2009 and started discussion, and it demonstrates some of the challenges you have, and we have to try and, by maintaining the stability of an institution like HAD, prevent this kind of long, drawn-out delay. We stand 2009, and Catherine Estate has been through many twists and turns, but it's really good to see a number of people here getting keys at Catherine Estate. Right? Always designed to be for working Jamaicans, and I see they're carrying out. It's good to have you back there helping them deliver on it. To the team, thank you.
There you have it. Happy people. Thank you very much, Ms. Rosemary Brown and team, for your handling of the key ceremony. At this time, you know, we have an excited gallery at the front, and after these proceedings, we would like you to take a look. Yes, HAJ has developed quite a number of communities in Jamaica, and the gallery is on the inside of the building. So feel free. Our senior manager for community development will lead this charge, so she will give directives. At this time, our HR specialist, our HR senior manager, Alson Henry, will come and move the vote of thanks for us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Honorable Dr. Aris Chang, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of National Security, Chairman and Board members, Managing Director, Mrs. Doreen Prendergast, members of staff, and all other specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. As we come to the close of this historic key handing over ceremony, commemorating the 15th anniversary of the Housing Agency of Jamaica, we are profoundly grateful for your presence and contributions to this momentous occasion. First and foremost, we extend our heartfelt appreciation to our distinguished guest of honor, the Deputy Prime Minister. Your presence here today, sir, despite your busy schedules, is a testimony to the support for our mission and the importance of housing in our nation's development. A very special note of gratitude goes to our dedicated team at the Housing Agency of Jamaica. Team, give yourselves a round of applause. And we have members of staff not only from our head office today, but also from our Montego Bay and SAV office, and we're grateful that they're here with us. Your unwavering commitment, tireless efforts, and attention to detail have made this event a resounding success. We also extend our thanks to our valued partners, sponsors, and stakeholders. Your support has been instrumental in our journey to provide quality housing solutions to our community. To our esteemed audience, both here and those joining us virtually, your participation has enriched this celebration. Your engagement and enthusiasm inspire us to continue our mission with even greater dedication. As we symbolically hand out these keys, we not only mark the 15th year of our agency, but also the keys to the future of affordable and accessible housing in Jamaica. In conclusion, our heartfelt thanks goes out to members of the media that would have been with us today and are still with us, our staff, our caterer, our technicians, and all the unsung heroes who have worked diligently behind the scenes. Let us leave this event today with a renewed sense of purpose and collaboration, knowing that together we can build a brighter future for our fellow citizens throughout Jamaica. Thank you.
With every celebration comes a cake. And so at this time, we're going to be asking the Honorable Dr. Ore Strong to join us at the cake table. We are going to ask our resilient Mr. Norman Brown to join us at the cake table, and our meticulous Managing Director, Doreen Prendergast, to join us at the cake table. It's the first time I ever see 3 persons cutting the cake. As a bishop, I used to 2 persons, but we have 3 persons this time, and 3 worthy persons come to the cake table as we cut and celebrate in fine style. Come. Yeah. Wow, Crystal, happy Crystal anniversary. You don't have to be so close, yes. At the count of 3, each person hold your knife. 1, 2, 2 and 3/4. Hello, you're too fast. I hope I saw we build the house them fast. Yes, that's the speed of HAJ. All good things must continue. And so at this time, we're going to ask Nakia McMarris, wave your hand that they see you're going to lead the charge to the gallery. Or Rudolph Mackenzie. Rudolph, where's Rudolph? Rudolph, are you here? Okay. Come on. My wonderful audience, this man will show around the gallery and will demonstrate and will assist you as it is necessary to understand further our developments.
Better late than not. I have Zanetta here. Zanetta. And Zanetta is representing the Housing Trust, Mr. Miller. She helped to build a legacy too. She was here. Zanetta, you have something to say, although we are almost finished? On behalf of Mr. Miller.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here to represent Mr. Martin Miller, Managing Director of the National Housing Trust, as well as the Board of Directors of the National Housing Trust. The NHT has a long-standing partnership with HAJ, and to be here this afternoon, I feel special because HAJ, as Ms. Brown said, is my home, and I still feel a deep connection to HAJ, having been here for so many years. NHT wants to affirm its partnership with the HAJ and its commitment to the work that we do together to build one community at a time. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. You have been well. Enjoy the gallery. Have yourself a good afternoon. We we have lunch free just on the right. You can just take a lunch and you may leave. God bless you. Building Jamaica, one community at a time. God bless.
Government, and we are responsible for the development, construction, and sale of housing solutions for low to middle income earning Jamaicans. Community development and home ownership are linked to a number of advantages, especially crime reduction, family wealth, favorable communities, and greater civic pride. At HAJ, we are passionate about empowering ordinary Jamaicans, which is why over the years we have focused our attention on creating transformational housing projects across the island. It is our belief that home ownership should be accessible to all Jamaicans, regardless of occupation or socio-economic status. So, let us partner with you as you work towards your goal of owning your dream home.
We are here to ensure that every single youngster can achieve the same things.
What does moving to green energy mean for us? Find out during the September edition of the Caribbean Economic Forum. My name is Tony Thorne, and I'm your host, who will be happily joined by some climate experts, Naika Prescott, Raquel Moses, and Dr. Gary Jackson, as we assess the importance of the energy transition, the value of sustainability and its effect on the resilience of our economies, societies, and the environment.
It's Wednesday, September 6. In the headlines in local news, an update on back-to-school reports from the Education Minister. In business news, Jamaica to draw down IMF funds for debt refinancing. Regionally, Guyana's unemployment rate further declines. Internationally, former Proud Boys leader sentenced to 22 years for Capitol riot. And in sports, national netballer to receive a new home. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Brittany Clark. A member of parliament is elected to represent the interests of the constituents who elected him or her, as well as the interests of the